Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about hypergamy. All right, so first of all, let's get into it. All right, so first of all, where are we right now? We're in the 2023 Spring Dungeons & Dragons Bi-Directional Trust Crisis, okay? The anti-D&D groups, and these are people who are or are allied with the D&D Be Gone banner, right? People who literally... They pulled off their masks, and they said, hey, we want Dungeons & Dragons gone. We want the books gone. We want the Dungeon Masters gone. We want the legacy gone. We want the history gone, because we're sick of competing with it. We realize we can't beat it. And the only way to get it, and this has been done. You've seen this in other countries. They're like, oh, I know how we could get everything the way we want it. Let's make sure that the thing we don't like is completely gone, right? All right, so basically, the anti-D&D groups, who are the OGL, the OSR, and the Orc, right? They don't trust Dungeons & Dragons. And Dungeons & Dragons is like, whoa, we had a good disagreement. We sent some documents, the OGL 1.1, to some people, and they leaked it. And now all y'all are saying we shouldn't even exist? So they don't trust the OGL, the OSR, and the Orc anymore, in my humble opinion, okay? That's where we're at, okay? All right, and the reason why I'm saying this is I want my channel to be a museum where you can come and you can look at my videos years later and go, oh, that's where we were at that moment, right? Like in Dungeons & Dragons history, because that's what this is, right? Like this is Dungeons & Dragons history. All right, so let's talk about Dungeons & Dragons hypergamy. All right, so one, we're going to get there. And I'm going to talk through information about dating, okay? Now, I'm a 52-year-old guy, and I've been married for 30 years, so what the heck am I doing in consuming the best content there is on modern dating, right? I'll tell you why, all right? I have a few people in my life, and I'm like, why are they not married? And I can't ask them because it's rude and it's personal, right? But I'm like, oh my gosh, I was 21 when I was married, right? Like, and people I care about, young people I care about, are not getting married. Why is this happening? I'm getting all freaked out, right? Like, so I went and I got the answer. And the answer was explained by Pearl Davis. She is absolutely brilliant. She has an amazing channel. If you don't know who Pearl Davis is, go check her out. And here's her summary. I feel like she perfectly explains modern dating in one sentence. She said it. Here it is. And by the way, this is all hetero. This is hetero specific, okay? That's the area of modern dating that she's explaining. I'm sure there's like a Pearl Davis on the other sides, but like for hetero, she explains the problem, right? All right, so here it is. Here's what she says. She says 80% of women are seeking, pursuing, going after 20% of men. That's the whole ball of wax. That's the whole problem, right? And that explains everything. It explains everything. It explains incels. It explains really nice guys who do not have a chance of ever getting married or being loved or having a good relationship, right? And get this. The 20% of guys figured this out, and they are horrendous beast humans, like just horrendous monster humans, just the worst, right? So great, Pearl's like, this is what happened. 80% of women are looking for the same dude. They're 6 feet, they make six figures, and they have six of something else, right? And once you realize it, once you hear it, you're like, oh my gosh, she's right, and the whole system's broke, right? Now, I listened to Pearl, and she's like, essentially, she's a red pill SME, a subject matter expert on modern romance, right? And she explains why the hetero dating scene is utterly broken today, right? And so I was like, oh, that's the answer to my question. This is why they're not married, right? Like, so, oh, well, now I know the answer. I'm sad, but I know the answer, right? Like, but then, before I turned off that content, I was listening to a lady by the name of Courtney Ryan. Her video is linked below, and her video is about a hypergamy coach, right? And that we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons hypergamy right now, okay? Now, I want to talk real quick about her, about Courtney Ryan. So I was listening to Courtney Ryan, and then I was like, okay, Scott, you got your answer. Shouldn't you jump off this dating material? Because, like, you're 30 years, you're 52, and you've been married for 30 years. You don't need any more of this, right? And then something happened, right? So one, I'm pretty transparent about my life on this channel, and I'm going to share something with you that I hope is going to help you because it helped me, right? I'm 52 years old, and I love my wife deeply, right? But I do not assume her love, right? Like, actually, I I do assume her love. I think my wife is going to keep her till death do us part promise, and I intend to keep my till death do us part promise, right? But the other thing though is I don't lean on that assumption, right? So one of these, I'm 52 now, right? I'm not bringing the same profile I brought 30 years ago, or even 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, right? I was a lot, age is harsh, right? It comes with real costs, right? And I want to be attractive and exciting, and I want my wife to be excited that I am her husband, right? So I was listening to Courtney Ryan, and she said, if you're a man and you want a woman, don't do these things, right? And this is while I was still kind of like figuring out this whole hetero thing, so I understood for the young people, I know why they're not getting married, right? And she said, don't play the victim, right? And just recently, it's about a week or two ago, my wife was like, hey, I'm going to this place. I want you to come with me. And I was like, I don't want to go to that place. And she's like, why not? I was like, they don't like me there, right? Like, nobody asked me to be there. You're asking me to go with you, but I've never gotten an invitation from these people, and they don't want me there, right? And she's like, I think you're reading something into it that you're wrong. I think if you go, it will be pleasant, and you will enjoy yourself. And then I remembered Courtney Ryan's words. She was like, don't play the victim. It ain't attractive to women, right? And I was sad sacking my wife. I was like, oh, woe is me. They don't like me, and I don't want to go if they didn't invite me, right? And I was like, you're playing the victim, right? Right? I was like, oh, wait, like, that's not good, right? And I quickly realized it in my head, and before an hour, I was like, I'm going with you tomorrow. And she's like, really? And I was like, yeah, I'm going with you tomorrow. And we had the best time. It was awesome, right? And once I got there, believe it or not, I'm a pretty charismatic person, right? And I'm confident, right? And I'm intelligent. And I have this trick, right? I can make almost anybody like me, right? Well, you want to know how you make anybody like you? Just ask questions about the other person and listen. And then actually care about what they say, and then just simply ask follow-up questions because you actually listened to what they said. This works with every person on the planet. like everybody loves to talk about themselves. I don't know if you don't know that secret, but I do. Right? And I can turn somebody to at least, like Dungeons and Dragons puts it, hostile, friendly, neutral, right? So I could take somebody who's hostile and turn them into neutral. I could take somebody who's neutral and turn them friendly, right? Like just by asking about them. And I do have this superpower where I literally am interested in all human beings, right? I'm quite interested. Because even the villains, right? I'm like, oh, what's your story? Right? And so that's the thing. So here's what's happening, okay? So Courtney Ryan really helped me. She did this video below called Hypergamy, right? About responding to our hypergamy coach. And I would watch that if you have time. And she has, and she explains what hypergamy is in there, but I'll say it real quick. Hypergamy is literally the technical term for what Pearl Davis figured out, right? If 80% of women are pursuing 20% of men, now I would say that 15% of the 20, right? 3 out of 4 of the guys that are being pursued are absolute monster humans. But Pearl Davis actually talked about this. 1 out of 4 of those guys being pursued are the real deal, right? And they are, and they're actually really, they call them high value men now. There's like a whole language around this, right? And they're like, these are high value men, right? So you got 16 out of 20 women searching for one dude out of 20, right? And so get this, in that 16, there's a bunch of 6s looking to get a 9, right? There's a bunch of people who make $35,000 a year trying to get somebody who makes $350,000 a year. They're trying to date up through the wealth class, date up through the culture class, date up through the number class, right? Like the ratings class, the whole 9, right? They're like, I'm a 6, but I deserve a 9, right? And that's the problem, right? That's exactly what's happening right now with Dungeons & Dragons, right? You got a whole bunch of dungeon masters, you got a whole bunch of D&D commentators going, I'm too good for D&D. I'm going to go over here and see who else is out on the playing field. But the problem is, not only are the 3 out of 4, men, the other games that they're looking for, monster games, absolute dumpster fire games, Pathfinder 2, right? OSE. Man, there's so many. Shadowrun, Rifts. I can't believe, the platforms people are going to escape D&D. It's literally laughable. It's just absolutely laughable, right? Like, this is, yeah, it's so funny, right? So, but the one high value man hasn't even been created, isn't yet born, right? The game that is going to beat Dungeons & Dragons does not exist. That's the part you don't understand. That's not even born yet, right? Like, all the cruft that they are pulling out of the closet to beat D&D has already been beaten by the D&D, and not beaten a little, like punched into a bloody mess virtually. Like, these games have been destroyed by Dungeons & Dragons already. And when people bring their tables to them, people are going to go, oh, you mean this crusty piece of crap that got beat by D&D 15 years ago? Are you serious? And they're like, yeah, we're really serious. So that's what's happening. That is what's happening. The anti-D&D groups are 6s, not realizing D&D is a 9. And it's not a 10. I'm not telling anybody D&D is perfect. They've made some mistakes, right? Right? But they are the 9. And frankly, they're the only 9 standing, right? And frankly, I'm not sure there's even a 3 or a 4 out there. I think everything else is a 2. And that's why Dungeons & Dragons has been destroying them for 10, 15 years. So this is what's happening. It's hypergamy. It's tabletop role-playing hypergamy. That's the situation. Oh, that's my humble opinion. That's what I think. What matters is what you think. And I'm eager to hear what you think when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.